People are saying that BTS has changed and JK might have just given us a confirmation on why and what's going on. We also have a clip sparking outrage as people have taken JK and done something with him, as well as people believing that RM has recently addressed some rumors. So hey Dumplings, it's Dave Disci, let's get into it. Recently, RM posted a photo showing all of the members at rehearsal except, I believe, J-Hope and Jin. So yes, it seemed like Suga was there, and that pretty much answered all of the rumors that people had about whether or not he was leaving the group and why he wasn't active. Well, maybe it doesn't answer that. And a lot of that could be because he was working on things behind the scenes and he just didn't want to be seen yet or didn't have a reason to be in the spotlight. We of course always have to keep in mind that none of the members, and I mean not a single one of them, have a need to ever work again in their life. I mean, they can pretty much choose how they want to approach the public or how they want to approach new songs and albums, because there's no mandatory need to work to survive. This has led a lot of people to talk about the comeback and what that might look like. We're seeing the boys back at dance practice, and this of course is a sort of nostalgic view for a lot of people. We haven't seen this in many years, and people are noticing very quickly that the boys are seemingly gearing up for this release and are already doing the choreography and stuff. No, I don't really know how they're going to go about things and what their strategy is. Is it that every single time a song gets picked, they're jumping right into the rehearsal room and learning it? Or is it that rehearsal time essentially means that the album is done? But if the album is done, why do they have to wait approximately like 5 or 6 months to get the album? Shouldn't it come out relatively sooner? Well, my theory is the boys have a lot planned, and this is stuff that's going to take a lot of time. Them getting that window of time that is a significant amount of time, it's going to help them with several different things. One, it's going to try to sort of calm down the backlash that they've been getting recently, and backlash that they've been getting for doing literally nothing. But it's also going to expose them to a little bit more, and it's going to give them the opportunity to maybe get their show back up and running again, get them back on interviews, get them to do things that get media attention, because they have to do those things like go on talk shows and interviews to start to get buzz going again. They can't just go without being promoted or anything like that. So my theory is that a lot of the stuff is going to come out prior to the release of this album, whether it's shows, whether it's being ambassador for something, whether it's things that they're working on, stuff like that that needs to come out prior to the album. And they're going to start making their rounds on TV and start getting that attention before they drop the album in 6 months. That's plenty of time, and there's plenty of time to do that, right? So that's the PR strategy to all this stuff in general, right? In America, a lot of this would just be like, let's get a dating rumor going or some sort of scandal happen to promote something. But in Korea, it's more of this idea of how can we get them as much exposure as possible without any negative things. And I think that's what they're going to do. There's also been a clip that has sparked a lot of outrage online, and clips center around someone taking the life-size JK cutout and partying with it. Or this was just like an event maybe where people were just hanging out with their friends. The cutout, as I mentioned, is life-size, so JK is standing. This is the height in which JK would be at and twerking on him. And the cutout looks very similar to him. It's like real height and everything. So people thought this was funny. They thought it was a joke. Like, I don't know if the person twerking on JK was the one who bought the cutout out, because I think most people assumed that the person who brought the cutout would have been someone who's a K-pop fan and probably wouldn't have treated another K-pop star like this. But it could very well still be a K-pop fan that decided that twerking would be fun. The video went viral and people were just really not happy about it. Now, I don't know the exact reason of why they believed that this was something that was appropriate, because to me, this clip should have maybe just gone viral within that person's community. Like the person who bought the cutout, it should just go within their community of their family and friends. The only reason why it's viral is because so many people were outraged by it, but I'm not quite sure what the outrage is about, because people are calling it indecent. Some people are saying that it's disgusting, and while that's definitely a personal opinion, nothing disgusting per se is happening here. It is inappropriate though, I will say that. It's a piece of paper that they're twerking on also though. The only time in which it's inappropriate to, let's say, deface or to be vulgar towards a picture would be like if they were the president or the king or queen or a religious figure. Now, someone in entertainment, not so much. And this goes to show that a lot of people worship JK and the rest of the BTS boys like they're some sort of god. And I think that that's not good. Now, do I think that you should go ahead and do this anyway? And doing something like this is respectful? No, like of course not. And I can understand that this can be seen as disrespectful. But it shouldn't be so shocking and disrespectful that it ends up being viral with so many people having opinions about it, so many people talking about it, so many people wishing the person twerking were to die. Absolutely not. It should have never gotten to that point. The only reason why it got to that point is because people who are watching it believe that JK is some sort of god and see it as so inappropriate or so like violently disrespectful. But the fact of the matter is, if someone were to do this to a billboard poster of Beyonce and do something like this, yeah, people would be upset, but I don't think it would get to this point, let alone would it go this viral. So it really goes to show you where the priorities of the fans are. And that's kind of the issue that I'm having with this situation, is that you should not worship someone to the point that no matter what happens, even just a piece of paper of them, you're considering it as such disrespect to the point where you have to share it and give your disgusting opinions and death threats, and you have to write a dissertation about how rude and disgusting this is, and then, you know, say awful things. And I'm not saying that this is not disrespectful, but I'm saying that the reaction is uncalled for, and something like this definitely should have not gotten this viral. And we as the community choose whether or not something goes viral. So people often say, oh my God, how are we making stupid people famous? Or how are we making this certain thing famous? Well, that's completely on the audience. No one can force someone to watch something. No one can force someone to engage or share or do any of that stuff. We do that on our own volition because something has to trigger an emotion enough within us to watch. So I can understand when something obscene is being said or can cause some sort of visceral reaction, but something should not have caused this type of reaction. We should not have watched this video and then been able to react on it. We should have just moved on. At least this is just my opinion on the issue. JK was recently on a live stream that got a little bit of backlash as JK was making food and he ate the food and thought it was absolutely delicious. He then made the Italian gesture, like hand gesture for delicious food. This is also something that's an ongoing joke of people online saying that this is what Italians do when they talk about anything. But JK made this gesture to express that the food was delicious, and then he quickly apologized for making that gesture, saying that he feels like it could be offensive because he thought of Italian soccer players doing this when they lose. So I guess his mind probably thought, oh, is this like a cursing thing, like a middle finger? Now, obviously, it's not, I don't think so, but he did apologize, saying that he was sorry, but because it could have been that way, and he was sorry if it was something that might have been a little bit more crude. The internet went wild with this, saying that of course he does not need to apologize, he did nothing wrong, and I agree with this. I don't think he did anything wrong. But this then led to the conversation of, is JK aware of all the backlash that the boys have been getting lately? And is this a sign or a confirmation that, one, he's aware, but two, that he now feels like he has to be super careful about everything because he's worried that his gesture is going to end up on the news tomorrow and it's going to lead to backlash. And I will say this, it's really difficult to predict what people are going to grab onto. For example, there's only a few companies in the world, I think, that have made campaigns in which strike a very delicate balance between getting backlash, getting initial hate, which then will push the campaign out, but not getting too much hate where it's going to stop sales, right? But when I say it's difficult, I'm talking about the fact that just general gauging of how the general public is going to react is something that's really difficult. And oftentimes, the thing that they grab onto are not the things that maybe one you thought perhaps would be good or would go viral. And it oftentimes is the thing that you don't intend. So if JK apologized for something or thought it was a big deal, like it probably was never going to be the thing that would have gotten backlash. It's always something that makes zero sense. It's always something that the artist barely even thought about. Things like a side eye, maybe, or at the moment they were doing God knows what for whatever reason. And it's like things that they don't even remember after getting off camera. Maybe things that were done in a haste and then ended up going viral online as a sign of disrespect when it was like 3 seconds of the entire night. Things that a celebrity might wear that no one at the party or the event even makes a comment about, nor thinks it's rude, but then online people think it is. These are all small things that are always a shock to people who read about it in the news the next day, because at the event, it's not considered a big deal. This is the most frustrating thing because JK and the rest of the BTS members have been getting backlash, and it seems as if JK is aware of that and is trying to apologize for that as much to avoid backlash. And I hope this stops soon. I hope when the music comes out, people are going to stop the hate because they're going to see that the boys are talented. I mean, we all know that the boys are talented. This is something that the entire community who has stayed with BTS knows. But I think the general public has forgotten, and I think when the boys come back, people are going to start to remember, and I'm very excited for that. So let me know what you think. Let me know your thoughts. Make sure you check out Patreon. I'll leave a link at the top of the description. Thank you so much for this lovely comment right here. Love you.